Welcome to my classroom for another tip on handing out equipment. This time it'll be handing out dice. Let's say you're doing an activity using a 10 frame or a 1 frame, and in our second part of our 5-part lesson we've introduced that and we've displayed that on our whiteboard, and then we want to send students back to tables to actually practice that for student-centered learning, so part 4 of a 5-part lesson. That means we need to actually hand out dice, also the bowls, because dice live in 2 places, your hand or the bowl. But children would always be recording on something. So that means they would be recording on their whiteboards. If they're doing that, then we also need to hand out our marker pens and erasers. The first thing I always hand out is the item that the students are recording on. So that's where I'm walking around the room and I'm handing out my whiteboards. I always give children something to do, so I might say to them, check that you have 50 small quadrilaterals on your page. I would then walk around the room and hand out their marker pens and erasers. So that way, while they're actually counting their objects, I can also observe for observational assessment how they're counting, or in some cases not counting. And so I'm walking around the room, handing out their marker pens and erasers, giving me an opportunity to actually see their counting. The very last thing that I then hand out is the dice into the bowls. So because it's always 1 bowl between 2, so they're always working with their shoulder partner rather than their nose buddy. So it's always 1 bowl between 2. As they're doing that, I'm giving children another instruction. So it might be instruction 1, take the lid off your marker pen and place it on the end of the pen. While I'm giving that instruction, I'm actually walking around the room, as I am now, handing out that equipment. Instruction 2, place your eraser at the top of your table above your whiteboard. So I'm setting up their desk space for them. While they're doing that, I'm walking around the room and now putting their dice into the bowl. So I'm making some decisions about which students receive which dice. So that's my differentiation, changing the value of the unit. So students seated at this table might be receiving a 0 to 9 die, that they're working 1 between 2. Students at this table might also be receiving 0 to 9 die. But students in the middle zone of the room, if it was stage 3, year 5 and year 6, they might be receiving tenths die. So they're actually receiving the red die. And then students seated on the other side of the room might be receiving simplified tenths. So they're receiving the blue die. So a very simple way that you can manage your resources and also differentiate your instruction at the same time. Have a great time in your next maths lesson.